Over 130,000 of you loved our last video comparing the cost of living in New Zealand and Australia. In this video, we're taking a closer look at the numbers and studying whether Australia is still a good option to live in 2026. Over 500,000 Kiwis now live in Australia, and according to the latest statistics, this is increasing by roughly 30,000 a year. So first, let's take a look at the main reason people are leaving: salaries. In New Zealand, the median salary was 1,380 New Zealand dollars a week as of June 2025. In Australia, it was 1,425 Australian dollars a week as of August 2025. Converting this to New Zealand dollars, it comes to roughly $1,657, roughly $300 more per week than New Zealand. This data comes from the government statistics websites of each country and looks at the wages and salaries only. So what's clear is that the median Australian earns about 20% more than the median Kiwi. On top of this, we also need to talk about superannuation. In Australia, your employer must pay 12% into your super account on your behalf. So as a worker, you don't have to contribute anything yourself. In New Zealand, employers are legally required to contribute 3% of your salary to our local equivalent, KiwiSaver. To be eligible for this, you must contribute at least 3% of your salary every single year. The government will also match 25 cents for every dollar you put in each year, up to $260.72. So Australia's super scheme typically works out better for savers, and we'll see this play out shortly using a real example. The final piece to look at when it comes to incomes is the taxes. There have been a couple changes in Australia and New Zealand over the past year or so this is accurate as of January 2026. Here are the tax rates side by side for both countries. This is just looking at income tax alone. ACC in New Zealand and Medicare in Australia are on top. When we apply these rates across different income levels, New Zealand charges higher taxes up until about 300,000 New Zealand dollars a year. Let's now combine the median income, the impact of super, and the difference in taxation. Starting with Australia, the median salary is $1,425 a week. Every year, you'd pay $13,018 in tax and $1,482 in Medicare. This leaves you with $59,600 after all deductions. On top of this, you'd have received $8,892 on top for your super from your employer. Jumping over to New Zealand, the median salary is $1,380 a week. Every year, you'd be required to pay $13,748.50 in income tax on this income. There would be a further $1,198.39 in ACC payments. If we assume 3% KiwiSaver deductions, we'd contribute a little over $2,000 a year. So at the end, we'd have $54,660.31 in take-home pay. On top of this, our employer would match our KiwiSaver contribution, and the government would contribute a further $260.72. Comparing both countries in New Zealand dollars, the median Australian salary worker has 26.8% more disposable income after considering all deductions. So here we're just talking about what you take home every year. The median Aussie would also have the equivalent of 10,340 New Zealand dollars contributed to their super account, whereas the median Kiwi would have just $4,500. The difference is well over double in Australia's favour. So in summary, the median Australian worker has 26.8% more cash in hand and 126+% more in their super account every year. So both on the income and the savings front, Australia runs laps around New Zealand. There are talks in New Zealand of increasing the minimum contribution rate, but this will bring that disposable income figure down further. To add to this, the median Aussie wage increased 3.4% last year, while New Zealand rose just 2.8%. So the gap only appears to be increasing. Just 10% of you watching currently subscribe to the channel. If you enjoy content like this, please be sure to subscribe down below. It really helps me create more content just like this, but for now, let's compare the costs in New Zealand and Australia. Broadly, I'll be looking at 4 areas of spending: housing, food, transport, and utilities. Kiwis generally move to the larger centres of Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, and Brisbane. Auckland has 1.8 million people, so the fairest comparison is with Adelaide and with Perth. Now, comparisons are never perfect, but I've done my best here to compare apples with apples. So yeah, there are hundreds of reasons why prices can be different, like Australia not taxing healthy foods and New Zealand being a smaller market. But I've done my best to show you, as a person living in both countries, what you'd pay for a similar item. So if we start with food, both New Zealand and Australia both have Woolworths, making this an easy like-for-like comparison. Now, we're not looking at the cheapest place to do your shopping. Woolworths is in both countries, so it allows us to compare the same product in both countries. I compared the price of 50 staple items to get a rough gauge on the difference in prices. There are thousands of possible comparisons, but I just want to give a high-level view here. Starting with meats, chicken breast is priced lowest in Australia at 11 Australian dollars per kilo. It's the same for thighs. Even though New Zealand is on special, it doesn't beat Australia. Drumsticks round out chicken, with Australia being universally cheaper than New Zealand. Beef mince is roughly $4 a kilo better priced over the ditch. And on the premium stuff, this increases to $7 a kilo. Similar to what I saw a year back, Australia remains more pricey for steak. Roughly $8 a kilo on the Scotch and $9 a kilo on the sirloin. Moving over to pork, the mince is $6 cheaper per kilo over the ditch, but the chops are slightly better priced in New Zealand on promotion. Australians get a great deal on lamb, with Kiwis paying 64% more per kilo for a leg. And in the seafood aisle, salmon is $13 a kilo cheaper in Australia, and prawns are surprisingly $10 a kilo cheaper in New Zealand. Buying all these items would cost $367 in New Zealand, but just 346 Kiwi dollars in Australia. This makes meat and seafood 6% lower priced over the ditch. Moving over to fruit and veggies, bananas are marginally cheaper in Australia, while avocados are currently cheaper at home by around 90 cents. Strawberries are 72% cheaper in Australia, while apples are 15 cents cheaper in New Zealand. Lemons are a better deal in New Zealand too, as are limes, however plums are lower priced in Australia. New Zealand is cheaper too for kiwi fruit, pears, and tomatoes. Cucumbers are lower in Australia, however. Potatoes and onions are cheaper in New Zealand by 9 and 45% respectively. Carrots are the same price in both countries. Broccoli is about $1 lower in Australia, lettuce 25% cheaper in New Zealand, and capsicum too by a whopping 54%. Kumara and zucchini are cheaper in Aussie, while mushrooms are lower priced in New Zealand. This basket of fruit and veggies would cost $44 in New Zealand and $47 in Australia, making New Zealand 7% better priced. This was surprising, as New Zealand applies 15% tax on fresh produce, while Australia doesn't tax them at all. So in this area, we're getting a pretty fair price. Moving along, a 3-litre bottle of milk is $1.30 cheaper in Australia, and a UHT carton too by a little over 50 cents a litre. Cream is priced lower in New Zealand, but for New Zealand produced butter, it's oddly cheaper in Australia by 29%. Mozzarella cheese is 17% cheaper in Australia, and tasty cheese too by 9%. Chobani yogurt is lower in New Zealand by $1.60, and a half a dozen of eggs is slightly cheaper in Australia. Obella dips, frozen fries, and frozen peas are priced lower in New Zealand. And finally, hash browns are cheapest in Australia. Considering all the refrigerated items, this basket would be $76 in New Zealand and $75 in Australia, so there isn't a huge price difference between both countries. Our final grocery comparison is the price of pantry items. Flour is roughly 25% cheaper in Australia, and sugar too by roughly 33%. I'll quickly skim through the other items in the pantry section, as there aren't many here. But the basket would cost $31 in New Zealand and $25 in Australia. Across all 50 items, the cost in New Zealand would be $519, while in Australia it's just $495. Just a 4% difference between the two. 23 items were lowest priced in New Zealand, while 27 were in Australia. So on average, Australia appears to have the better priced groceries. The next area to explore is the cost of housing. New Zealand's housing market has been weak over the past couple years, while Australia's has continued its post-pandemic bull run. According to Cotality, in December, the median house price in Sydney sat at a little under $1.3 million. Brisbane has passed $1 million, while across Australia, the median sits at around $900,000. In New Zealand, Cotality estimates Auckland's median to be a little over $1 million New Zealand dollars, with other major centres sitting between $600,000 and $1 million. Across New Zealand, the median sits at $800,000. Comparing the nationwide medians in New Zealand dollars, housing in Australia is 29.9% more expensive than New Zealand. Looking at similarly sized cities, Perth with 2.3 million and Auckland with 1.8 million, the median price in Perth is 4.6% more expensive than Auckland. Adelaide has a population of about 1.4 million people, and their median prices are very slightly ahead of Auckland. So like for like, Auckland is slightly lower priced for their population size. Variable interest rates currently cost 6.49% in Australia, but 5.69% in New Zealand. Even for 1-year fixed rates, Australia charges 5.49%, while in New Zealand it's 4.49%. So in terms of the cost to service a mortgage, New Zealand would be substantially cheaper in a like-for-like city. 1, because of the lower prices in Auckland, and 2, for the much lower mortgage servicing costs. Now if we compared Auckland to the likes of Brisbane or Sydney, this would be even more profound. Let's now take a look at rent. In the September Domain Rental Report, they show the median rent by city centre. Sydney tops the list at $780 a week, with Darwin, Canberra and Perth all sitting above $700 a week. Using tenancy services data, the median rent across New Zealand's region ranges from $460 a week to $650 in Auckland. So on a like-for-like basis, renting in New Zealand is also cheaper. Specifically looking at Auckland, with a median rent of $650 a week, similarly sized cities, Adelaide and Perth, charge $722 and $815 New Zealand dollars weekly. So currently, buying, mortgaging and renting similar properties in similar cities would be much more affordable in New Zealand. So to quickly recap, salaries are lower in New Zealand, groceries are slightly lower in Australia, and housing costs are definitely lower in New Zealand. Next up, we'll take a look at transport costs. The cost of public transport is different in every city and state, so we'll use Auckland and Perth for comparison as they are similar sizes. Perth has 2-tier pricing for their buses, trains, and ferries. One if the ride is 3.2 kilometers or less, and another if it's more. Auckland creates mind-boggling zones for trains and buses, with CityLink and one zone being similar to Perth's first tier, and the others being more closely aligned to the second. We'll compare both cities using contactless payment. In Perth, you'd pay $2.40 to commute a short distance of less than 3.2 kilometers. In Auckland, for a similar trip, you'd pay between 85 cents and $2.80. So if we bring the prices to New Zealand dollars, the upper price is the exact same between both cities. If we commute further than 3.2 kilometers, Perth charges 3.5 Australian dollars, translating to $4.08 Kiwi. In Auckland, you'd pay anywhere from $4.65 to $7.65, and for ferries, it can go as high as $13.20 for Gulf Harbour up north. So for short distances, you'd pay about the same in Perth and Auckland, while for further distances, Auckland is definitely more expensive. Now, the other way to commute is by driving. A Hyundai Tucson, like for like, would cost $45,990 in New Zealand drive away. In Perth, the same car would cost $40,990 Australian dollars or $47,708 in New Zealand dollars, nearly $2,000 more. A Ford Ranger Wildtrak, also like for like, would cost $76,990 in New Zealand. In Perth, it would cost $78,904 Australian dollars. So if we compare both in New Zealand dollars, in Perth, it would be $91,848. So the Ford Ranger in New Zealand is nearly $15,000 cheaper. Annual registration fees in Western Australia are $28.64 per 100 kilograms. If we assume the average car is about 1,500 kilograms, it would cost $429.60 a year. Plus, there's an administration fee of $9.50 and compulsory insurance of $504.70. All up, it would cost $943.80 a year. In New Zealand, for a standard petrol car, we just have an annual registration fee of $172.97. Perth's compulsory insurance is covered by ACC here, which we subtracted from our disposable income at the start of the video. It's also important to highlight that annual inspections are required in New Zealand, which can cost around $50 to $90. In Western Australia, there is no such requirement. So overall, the cost of keeping a car registered in New Zealand is much lower. Fuel, on the other hand, is a lot more pricey in New Zealand. Costco in Perth is currently selling 91-octane fuel for $1.487 per litre. Costco in Auckland is currently charging $2.389. After adjusting for exchange rates, Auckland is 66 cents more expensive than Perth for standard fuel. So overall, transport costs are fairly even between Australia and New Zealand. There are some things cheaper in New Zealand, like registration and the car purchase, while in Australia, the fuel and longer distance public transport is definitely cheaper. Now we reach the final category, utilities. In Auckland, using 2,000 litres a week would come at an annual cost of $896.85, including a fixed charge, water and wastewater. In Perth, the variable charge is based on usage and several fixed charges which are based on gross rental value, or whatever the house could be rented for. If we take our median $700 from earlier earlier in the video, the total would come to an insane $2,076.18, and that's in Australian dollars. Sewerage was the main culprit, accounting for over $1,300 alone. So for water services, it's no comparison, and Auckland is much cheaper. Moving along now to electricity, for Auckland I've used contact energy. If we used 8,000 kilowatt hours every year, our annual bill would be $3,248 a year. In Perth, using the same amount with AGL Energy, we'd pay $4,422 a year. In New Zealand dollars, that's $5,150.70. So Perth is 59% more expensive than New Zealand for electricity. For broadband internet, Contact charges $90 a month for 500 megabits down and 100 up. In Perth, an NBN plan with the same download speed would cost $99 a month, or 115 New Zealand dollars, 28% higher. So between power, internet and water, New Zealand is between 28 and 61% cheaper as compared to Perth. So to summarize everything we've covered in this video, the median Australian has 26.8% more cash in hand every week, and a whopping 126% more retirement savings than the median Kiwi worker. When we looked at the price of groceries, Aussies pay a lot less for meat, but in most other areas, New Zealand is cheaper. We didn't even look at this stuff as it would destroy the reach of the video, but it's certainly cheaper in New Zealand as well. Housing, both to buy and to rent, are lower priced in New Zealand as mortgage rates are lower. House prices tend to be lower like for like, and our rental market hasn't been as tight this past year as Australia's. Public transport tends to favour Australia as well, as it's still quite pricey here, and fuel is cheaper over the ditch as well. The actual purchase of a vehicle and its ongoing taxes are cheaper here in New Zealand by some margin. And finally, New Zealand wins in the utilities department by some margin. So overall, yes, Aussies are earning more than us here in New Zealand. But from what the data is showing me, their costs are creeping up too, and New Zealand is becoming a lot more affordable. The appreciating Australian dollar is great for their incomes, but it punishes them as well on the expenses side as it makes New Zealand relatively less expensive. What do you think? Let me know down below in the comments. Also make sure to subscribe to my channel and check out some of my 250 other videos here on YouTube. My channel is all about showing you how to grow your wealth in 2026. These two videos over here look at the average net worth of Kiwis and what makes you poor, middle class or rich in 2026. And if you want a free PDF looking at all of these attributes I've talked about in this video, make sure to download that down below in the video description. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to catching you on the next one. Cheers.